Please welcome up for probate court judge Brenda Sprader and Joe Bush.
Again, thank the JCs for having us here. This is a nice forum to be able to meet people and discuss the issues that they are concerned with. I am Brenda Sprader. I'm running for Muskegon County Probate Judge. I've been a Muskegon resident all of my life. I grew up in the Orchard View District, and I've been to our Muskegon Community College. I graduated from Grand Valley State University, and then I went to Thomas Cooley Law School. I have a degree in electronics. I have a degree in legal studies and a criminal justice minor. And many of you may know me from our local Dancing with the Stars. I'm a professional dancer. This is my 9th year participating with that community event, and we've raised over $500,000 to give back to the community. I like to use my dancing talent to help the community because number one, I like to dance and it's fun, and number two, the community has a lot of events where I can participate. Matter of fact, this brings back a lot of memories. I'm a member of the Women's Division Chamber of Commerce, and we put on an event called Gentlemen Diamonds, and we all practiced here. So I choreographed for the ladies and taught them the dance here. I used to have an instructional television show where I also taught dance for 7 years in Muskegon County. And I guess let's talk a little bit about why I want to run for Muskegon County Probate Judge. I decided to run for this position in April when the announcement was made it was going to be a family law court, a full-time family law court with some probate responsibilities. When I became an attorney, I worked on the juvenile criminal contract for 3 years, and I really enjoyed working with the juveniles, and that would be part of this position. I also worked 1 year with on the contract as a public defender for abuse, neglect families. And every day of my career, I have practiced family law. And I work in a lot of different counties, Oceana, Newaygo, Mason, Ottawa County. And what I want to do is bring some of the things that work in those counties to Muskegon County. I see a lot of things that could be improved upon. And I basically want to run to better families here. I have some ideas to hopefully make things easier for people when they come to court. It's never going to be a good experience, but it doesn't have to be a bad experience.
Thank you. Joe, a couple of minutes.
Sure. Thank you, Tim. Thank you to the JCs, and thank you everybody for coming tonight. My name is Joe Bush. I am a candidate for Muskegon County Probate Court Judge. I've been an attorney for over 20 years. I've been trying cases for over 20 years. I've been an attorney for just over 18. I started out in law school trying cases for the Wayne County Prosecutor's Office for the last 2 years of law school while I was working full-time and attending classes in the evening, and continued when I moved back to Muskegon, working in the private practice, trying cases, civil, primarily criminal defense, but in the civil aspect, probate litigation, divorce cases, family law, also handling complex commercial litigation cases as well. I'm married, have 2 children, my wife Angela and my children. We live in North Shores. I was actually born and raised here in Muskegon, North Muskegon. And so when I decided where I wanted to work after school, I wanted to come home. And so I've made a life here and love the community here and want to spend the rest of my life living here and being a member of this community. I care very much about it. So what I would tell you is we need strong judges. We need judges with experience, a long list of professional experience, and I have that. That's primarily why I'm running. I have experience particularly in the primary areas of that Ms. Sprader mentioned, that this is primarily family court but also probate, keeping in mind that we have concurrent jurisdiction here in Michigan, and Muskegon is a concurrent jurisdiction county, which means at any given time the state court administrator's office can reassign the docket between criminal, civil, circuit court cases and the probate court. So given that, someone with broader experience in multiple areas of the law is going to be more beneficial in that aspect because they have the ability to be more of a role player from probate court to circuit court.
I was just wondering if you are going to be a judge that takes it case by case, like parent by parent, child by child, or are you going to be a judge who has a reputation as, for instance, a 50-50 judge, like what we have now?
Who wants to go first on that one? Brenda?
I will, thank you. I get where you're coming from because again, I practice family law every day. And when you're a client and come in and say you have so-and-so for a judge, I can tell you basically what their point of view is and what the outcomes are. As judge, if elected, I would take every family for the specific family and look at what their individual needs are and what the best interests of their children are and what their situation is. I think it's important to think outside of the box to come up with some solutions that work for specific families. I don't believe it's correct to have a preconceived notion of what the family unit is supposed to look like because it just doesn't look like that anymore.
Thank you, Joe. Will you comment?
Sure. As a family law practitioner, I can tell you that divorce is primarily statutory, okay? So that we have specific statutes related to domestic relations here in Michigan that we are required to follow. That being said, as a judge, you have to apply the facts to that law in each case, and every case is different, okay? So I would hope I would have a reputation for being fair and diligent and prepared, but also have a reputation for applying the facts to the law at hand and making a reasoned decision. And quite simply, you can't do anything but start from the proposition of 50-50 until those changes occur. And those changes are going to come from the facts and the evidence that come in during the course of the case. So I wouldn't want to ever say that I would have a reputation for being anything but fair. And fair is never probably going to be 50-50, very rarely. In some cases it will, and in some it will be different. So I hope that answers your question.
Thank you. Another question? We have time.
Hi, this judge, or this question is for the man. Joe, sorry.
Joe Bush.
Okay. So I understand, I have an understanding of family court, and that, I mean, from what I know, it's part of circuit court, correct? Like, I'm saying. And this position that you guys are applying for, being in probate, you're saying that family court can assign cases to probate court for you guys to oversee. If this position is specifically for family law, I just wanted to know what each of the candidates is, what your experience in family law is.
Sounds like you'd like to know a little bit more about your experience in family law.
Sure. Thank you for the question. I have been handling family law cases since at least, I would say, 2000. So roughly of the 20 years that I've been trying cases, about 16 years, I've handled probably one of the largest, from an estate standpoint, one of the largest divorces in Muskegon County that I'm aware of. And I've handled cases where people are innocent. So from a divorce standpoint, that's one part of family law. I've also handled abuse and neglect proceedings. I've also handled adoptions. I handle a tremendous amount of post-judgment proceedings, which with regard to parenting time and child support tend to be a chronic problem. What I will tell you is that the reason why we have such a large family law docket is since 2007 to 11, there was over a 60% increase in abuse and neglect cases in Muskegon County, which is somewhat concerning given that other counties have cases dropping. Our rates went up. So the family court docket has exploded, and that's something that we need to get a handle on. Now, that starts in other programs within the county, but I have a decent amount of experience in dealing with family law cases. So I hope that answers your question. I am not exclusively a family law practitioner, but I think that's one of the advantages I have is I'm not limited in a single role.
Brenda, would you like to comment?
Well, family law is my forte, and I have tried criminal cases, felonies, and misdemeanors. It's just not what I prefer to do. I prefer to handle family law. And I can tell you that I have, between 80 and 100 family law cases constantly, all of the time. I handle cases, I have multiple cases with attorney Rick Ryder, Matt Casel, Matt Miller. I've had one with Mr. Bush since I started practicing law. So for me, I don't know Mr. Bush, but I don't see him in the family law realm.
One brief comment. I agree. I've also only had one case with you. I handle multiple cases with the same attorneys on a consistent basis. So I would say the fact that you want to point that out, I strongly disagree. I handle cases in multiple counties, multiple in Muskegon County on a consistent basis. I have a 200-plus caseload, of which about a third of that is family law.
Brenda, any final remarks? You good? Folks, we've got to move on. We've got one more race. I know there's lots of hands, but if you folks could stay around, appreciate you coming. Joe and Brenda, you could stick around and answer those questions in the race.